Coming up on this edition of eBEFOREi Video Reviews, we take a look at a kind of an underappreciated Voyager class figure. Why? Because he came out with the very extremely excellent Voyager class Megatron. This really, if you talk about a 10 out of 10 figure, this is it. But that's not to say that his casemate Hound isn't also excellent. In this review, I'm going to take a detailed look at Voyager class Hound and see why I think this might be the most underrated figure of 2017 so far. Take a look. So here's Hound in all of his houndiness, and it's not even a word. But this is, again, I really think that this is one of the most underappreciated figures. I mean, he's so great. Transformation is pretty complex. You know, the Last Night movie, and movie figures in general, as of late, have gotten kind of a bad rap for being overly simplistic, kind of shell formers. This is not a shell former, and I don't care what anybody says. This has a very complex transformation that is also satisfying. We'll get into that shortly. Maybe not Snickers satisfying, because, you know, who doesn't like a Snickers? I'd like one right now, can you tell? So anyway, going around the figure, he looks great in this mode, and there's a lot to love with this, including a lot of little kind of Easter eggy, maybe not the right word, but he's got some neat detail. Let's get him up close to the camera and take a closer look. So here he is much closer, and you can see that the overall detail just in plastic molding. Like, look at these kind of pipes running through, and I don't know if that's like hydraulic pipes or gas. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just cool that it's there. Big old bolt, maybe not as cool. He also has Decepticon symbols painted on, crossed off as he kills them dead, which is very violent, but cool. I really like that a lot. In the front of the figure, you can tell that he is a Mercedes vehicle, and too bad that there's not paint there in the front of the Mercedes symbol, but you do get this lovely shade of black and yellow, which is really nice, and also they kind of scoop so that if you're driving along and there's like a person or a deer or a bull or a kangaroo or a lion, or I could go on for an hour. But if there's something in front of him, he's going to hit him with this and splat they go. The tires, I love that they're dirty. I mean, it's so great. How is it silly that I'm excited over painted on dirt? But they actually did a decent job here, and each one of the tires kind of has that, so that's very cool. Again, going around the rest of the figure, this is really the same as the other side you just saw. On the back, you've got his ammo just like coming out of the back, which actually becomes his arms, but the way that fit into the back of the truck mode is utterly fantastic. From the top down, there's not really much to see here. I do kind of wish that this light bit was painted, maybe some paint up on top. Again, if you're kind of one of those customizing type people, you're not a figure, are you? If you're one of those people that like to tinker with their toys, then maybe you can have some fun with that. He also has a lot of peg joints for weapons, or peg ports. You can throw in, if you had the last edition of Voyager class Hound from the last movie, The Age of Extinction, you could take all of those weapons and plug them in here, which is cool. This thing, I have mixed opinions about. There's no really right or wrong way to fit these things together. I think this is how the instructions tell you to do it, but you could take this apart and do one of many. You can also peg them in here. There's a lot you can do. You can put them in the back of this. As you can see, there's ports just about everywhere on this figure. So again, there's a lot of different customizable things that you can do. One thing that is important if you're a Transformer with wheels is that you roll, and he has no problems rolling. There's no kibble on the bottom that gets in the way, so overall, I'm very pleased with that. Speaking of the bottom, there it is, and you don't have an overtly robot ready to just pop up and talk to you, because, you know, I mean, there are some robot bits here. You can tell that his head, and this becomes his shoulders and his chest. This bit kind of collapses together, which is cool. That's his fat man's waist belt, TM. And then, you know, the rest just kind of comes out and makes a robot. But it's not like you flip it over and, oh, there's a completely formed robot here. And it's not that at all. So all in all, truck mode excellent. Now let's get on to transformation. Ooh, I like the blue. I forgot to mention that. That's pretty. Anyway, let's get on to the transformation and show you how complex yet fun this transformation is. Now, you don't have to take these weapons off. You can leave it right where it is, but I'm going to go ahead and take it off. I just think it kind of gets in the way. So it's just plugged in with a port here, and I'll go through these weapons before the end of the review, and you can see what you can do here. So again, now we have his truck, and we're going to make him a robot. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to start getting things unpegged. The last step that you do to actually get him into this mode is, at least for me anyway, is I clip these back pieces in. So I'm going to go ahead and take those clips out. Just pull it down like that. Rinse and repeat on the other side, and you kind of get that loose, and you can leave it right there. Now we're going to flip him down. We're going to open this piece up right here, and we're going to start to pull out the arms, all right? When you do that, notice that it just started to come untabbed up at the top, and that's what you want. So go ahead and just kind of open this up, turn it around, do the same thing. Just kind of get that out, and it pulls it out of the top, and it's very, very simple to do. So you've got it like that. Now we're going to flip them like this, because that's ultimately going to be the robot. And you want to come down to what ultimately become the feet. And we're going to unpeg this. This is pegged together. Just kind of put some muscle into it. Even you. I don't know. Not talking to anybody in particular. And then you can come down here, and this is going to become the legs, all right? Before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and take this wheel right here. Let's see if I can get this right. Now that's on a dual hinge, so I'm going to go ahead and just unhinge that. And when I say dual hinge, I say that on a lot of my reviews. It's because you've got a hinge here, and you've got a joint there. So it's a dual hinge. Just go with it. So from here, I'm going to come down to the foot, and I'm going to pull this all the way down. Then I'm going to take the wheel and move it down like that, because that's going to become his actual feet. Then you can come down to the wheel well itself, and I'm going to pull this down with my thumb, flip it around because that is the front of the foot, and I'm going to leave a little bit of an arch here. I actually got this tip watching the Autobotamus review, and it's a great idea. If you arch the heel, it gives him a little bit better of a platform to stand on, so I do recommend that. Then you want to come around to this wheel well right here, and you want to get your finger in here, and you want to flip that down like that. So you're going to form more of the leg when you do that, and it just slots right in here so that you've got that little bitty piece going inside, and you know when you got it right. Come around to the other side and basically do the exact same thing. Bring this down, get that out of the way, bring the foot down, move the wheel, put your thumb in here, get out the foot, flip it around, and bring this piece down inside of the deal. In my case, you have to move this whole piece, make that straight, so that you can fit this piece in. All right, so you basically have the bottoms of the legs formed. Then you can take this piece right here, flip that down if it got flipped, and then hold it by the crotch, sorry, but that is what it is, and take your fingers up at the top like this and scrunch the whole thing down like that. And when you do that, you get a head reveal that just kind of popped up by itself, and I didn't even realize that. I think I've always just kind of opened the head up itself before I did that, but you get the idea. And then come around to the back of the figure, and we're going to take these wheel wells here. I don't think that's a wheel well, but just go with me. And I'm going to pull these around to the back and open it up almost like wings. All right, it makes it a lot easier if you pull it down first. So go ahead and pull the whole thing down like that, and then move it around to the back, and that's much, much simpler. All right, since we did get the head reveal, I'm going to go ahead and move this back piece that covered the head all the way back, and it gives his head a nice upright, I love that face sculpt, so good. But as you can see, if I back this up from the camera, we've almost got a fully formed bot here. Now we're going to come up to the arms, and we're going to take these side panels, and we're going to put them right up there, and what will happen is the back wing will kind of catch it right there where that peg sits. It's almost like a friction hold. So it's not in there super secure, but it's not going to come loose on you either unless you're playing real rough with your toy. And I don't recommend that because I take good care of my toys. You should too. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the other one back there too. And you'll know when it's right because, again, it kind of locks that arm in place. So I'm going to pull on these just so you get the idea that it is tight. Like, it's not just going to sit there and come loose unless you're really, really rough with it. Coming around back to the back of the legs, now that I've gotten the legs fully formed, I'm going to move this piece down as far as I can. It gives the foot a little bit more support. It doesn't really act as an ankle per se, but you do get a little bit more support for the feet itself. And it keeps them from all flopping around on you. Coming back around to the front of the figure, we're going to go ahead and finish transforming the entire thing, including the arms. His hands are right there. You're going to go ahead and pull those out and then collapse the forearm bit. All right, and now you've got a fully formed arm like that. And come around to the weapons here, his bullets or missiles or whatever they are, and pull them around to about the side so that you still get good elbow swivel. If you put it all the way out into the front, it limits how much you can move the arm, so I don't know that I recommend that, but I would swing it around to the side because it just looks so darn cool. On the other side, same thing, move the hand out, collapse the forearm, take the weapons, slide them around. All right, and now you've got a fully formed Hound, so you can stand him up, pose him up. I mean, will you just look at this thing? I mean, this is a thing of beauty. I mean, so good. Just all the way around, this is Hound from the last night. He looks so great. Now, since we have him in his robot mode, I'm going to take his weapons and start to pull some of these apart. And I'll tell you what I like to do. And again, you can do whatever you want. But I take this one piece right here, and I'll slot this into his hand so that he can hold that guy. Then I'm going to come around to the back, and I'm going to store this one piece back here. Again, just me. You can do whatever you want. You can flip that either way. You can have this up on the top if you want to, just to show you what that looks like. Maybe that's a little bit better from a symmetry standpoint. It kind of, doesn't look bad. Then I'm going to come around to his wings, and I'm going to take these smaller weapons, and I'm going to plug them into the back of his wings. Again, just my thing. It's what I do. You can do whatever you want. When you buy your toy, it's yours. Don't let me tell you what to do. I just give you advice on how to make it look pretty darn cool. So I'm going to point those down. Almost looks like a cape at that point, which is freaking awesome. Then I'm going to come around to the back, and since I have one more big weapon that I haven't used yet, I'm going to go ahead. You can plug that in right here, which is fine if you want to keep it symmetrical. You can also post it onto the back of one of those. That's fine as well. You can put the whole backpack back there, but I kind of recommend that you don't do that because it pulls on his back a bit hard, and you don't have a good standing Hound where he's not going to want to topple over. And I'm just going to say again, does it get any freaking cooler than this? There is Voyager class Hound. Now from a size comparison, again, there he is with the last night Megatron, who just doesn't even want to look at him. He's going to look away. Megatron's taller, no doubt. Hound is stockier. He's kind of fat. Can I say that? I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying he likes to eat. There's nothing wrong with that. Food tastes great. So anyway, there he is next to Megatron. And I'll also pose him up here next to Optimus Prime. That's Voyager class Prime. So there's no doubt that Hound is a little bit shorter than some of the other Voyagers, but he's got more bulk, and in vehicle mode, I mean, he's really just completely solid. There's not really anything hollow feeling on this figure, so I do think that you get what you pay for here. Let's take a closer look at Hound. Oh, Mrs. Hound would be so proud. Look at that face. That face looks so good. I mean, the blue in the eyes, I don't know if that's coming across in the camera. His helmet actually comes off like it did in the movie. Spoilers! It comes off for a second. But there's his face without the helmet. Again, so well done. If you're picking out from a shelf full of Hounds in your local store, number one, you're lucky because I've yet to see him in retail. Number two, if you do see him, look for the beard. I've seen figures where the beard is painted a little bit different per figure. Mine's got a lot more in black before the silver kind of specks in the middle. I like it maybe with a bit more silver, so just look at the face sculpt and you decide which one works best for you. But either way, I think this looks great. I'm going to go ahead and put the helmet back on, which, by the way, the directions actually do mention that the helmet comes off, so it's not just like, hey, there's some loose pegs there, and hey, we were able to take the helmet off. No, it's supposed to come off. And the detail, again, look at the weapons that he has kind of slung around his shoulder there, a couple of maybe grenades right there. There he has got some brass knuckles, because who doesn't love a pair of brass knuckles? Looks like maybe some razor blades. There's some grenades hanging right there. I mean, so good. The arms, the last Voyager figure that we got of Hound, these almost look like slinky, kind of wavy, silly things. Ain't nothing silly about this, ladies and gentlemen. That looks really, really good. Going all the way around the figure, we'll do that in a second when I back up the camera. More up-close detail. Again, the arms look great. The legs also look really, really nice. On the back, you got a little bit of vehicle kibble, but it's not like friggin' terrible. You know what I mean? It's a robot that turned into a robot from a truck, so expect to see some things like that. Now, let's get into some of the movements of this figure. The only negative that I really have to say about this guy is that his left arm is a little bit loose on mine. Not a lot, but if I get it down here, kind of tends to flop down by itself. So I don't know how that's going to wear in time, and that's a pin. I believe that's a pin. Yeah, that's a metal pin. So I can't throw a drop of glue in that or a paper towel or anything like that to keep that stiff. Hopefully it's fine, and I think, the figures will vary depending on which one you happen to pick up. I've also heard some issues where there are shoulder joints that are wrong. I've read in a few forums where people have gotten 2 right or 2 left shoulders. That's a bummer, because that would stop you from being able to transform the figure. Definitely sounds like a quality control issue. Again, I don't know for a fact. It's no one that I know personally, but I've read enough forums that it's more than a handful of people that have had this issue. So just kind of be careful. Look in the box and make sure as you're looking at the shoulder joint that it basically mirrors the other side. All right, if it doesn't mirror the other side, then something's probably screwed up on your figure. Also on mine, talking about some defects, not a killer deal by any means, but the forearm on this side doesn't peg all the way in. It just likes to pop out. Not a big deal. The other side pegs in great, as you can see. So just a little bit of QC stuff, but nothing major. As far as how this guy moves, his head's on a ball joint. It goes up and down and a little bit of side to side. You can turn all the way around if you... Well, no, you can't, because the beard's going to get in the way. So you're not going to get a whole lot of movement there. The arm, as I mentioned, shoulders on a pin underneath the arm there, and then a rotating right above the bicep or above the elbow, and a joint on the elbow itself, and the hands move in and out due to transformation. There is waist swivel, which is cool because the waist doesn't swivel during transformation, so they just gave us a waist swivel, which is super sweet. The legs do come up, but you got some stoppage right there because you got a piece here and it stops there. So if you need to get your legs really far up, you can move his belt up, and then you've got a much wider range that you can go. You also have a knee bend here, so you can still get some decent poses out of your Hound. You might just have to move around some plastic in order to get that. The feet do kind of move due to transformation, but because we had you move this piece back that's touching the back tire, it limits the way that there's almost like a ratchet feel, actually, which is cool because you don't want that flopping around on you. Moving them all the way around so that you can get an idea of how the back of the figure looks. Again, I think that there's minimal kibble, especially on the back itself. I've pegged this in, but if you took it out, it's real smooth. In fact, I'll just do that. So everything just compacts so nice. There is the kibble on the back of the leg, but other than that, he's just such a smooth figure that I really do recommend, if you couldn't tell. So that's my overall review of the Last Night Voyager class Hound. Again, if you can't tell by the tone of my voice in this review, I think that this is a great figure, very underrated because he just so happened to be released with Megatron, who's utterly fantastic. If I'm scoring out of 10, Megatron would be 10 out of 10 for me, no doubt. Hound would be a 9.8 out of 10, just slightly below, but overall a fantastic figure. One of my favorite figures that I've gotten in a long time outside of Megs. So again, if you see this guy at retail or you happen to find a good price at an online store, it is my high recommendation to pick this guy up. Thanks again so much for watching eBEFOREi video reviews. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please comment if you have any comments to make. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already done it and you enjoyed my work. And also, the most important thing that you can do is to spread the word of eBEFOREi video reviews. I just do this because I like it, and hopefully you like what I do, and it's a win-win situation. So spread the good word. You can follow me all over social media. I'm on Facebook.com/eBEFOREi. I'm on Twitter @eBEFOREiNet. I'm also, I've got a Facebook group where you can talk to me about toys. I'll put that in the video description. I'm all over the place. Instagram, your mama's house. I'm everywhere. So come along and say hi. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here again real soon.